All right. Good Wednesday morning to you. It is Wednesday, middle portion of this work week. It is cold outside, and some places are going to still be dealing with snow. So, how's your day starting off for you? What's good for you? What's good for you personally and professionally? Anything good? You looking forward to anything today or later on in the week? Achieve anything that you're super proud of? Go ahead, let us know. Comment below. I'm going to talk about the lake effect snow that we're expecting here today, not just today, but also in the days to come. The areas impacted. We're going to talk a little bit about ice concentration along the shorelines of the Great Lakes and a little bit of a preview of February and kind of how it might be shaping up. So, first thing is first, we do have some weather alerts in place for today, and it's due to that lake effect snow. So, here's what we have going on. Lake effect snow will still continue. It ramps up in the west and the eastern UP. We're looking at a better probability of more heavier lake effect snow in the eastern counties of the UP as the day progresses. And if you are traveling in those areas, you could encounter some reduced visibility and some slippery road conditions. This is now kind of, well, we're right almost in the heart of winter, about to be right in the heart of winter. So this is very typical for the UP in a normal winter season, which this year is shaping up to be a normal winter season. I've been talking about that since, well, November. So here we are. Okay. All right. So those are the main bullet points and highlights. Here are the alerts. I mentioned the West and the Eastern UP. There are advisories in the Western counties, including Baraga County. This will likely be extended. The National Weather Service office is probably going to extend that advisory in some way, shape, or form. And the warnings go until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning in the Eastern UP. So those are the areas impacted. It is not the entire UP, it's our typical areas when we usually get to this time of year. This is very common for us. So there's this little wave of energy. It's a little trough that's digging through the region. And so that's going to continue to provide a little bit of energy to allow lake effect snow to continue to expand in those areas here. So there it is, kind of pushing on through. And we're seeing a little bit more of that snowfall expand in eastern Alger County. Now, the best chance for heavy snowfall essentially will be kind of north of M28. But here shortly, Munising's going to be tapping into that band of more moderate snow. And usually with lake effect snow events, the Doppler radar overshoots the lake effect snow in the Keweenaw. So it might not be showing up on the radar, but there is some light snow over there in the Keweenaw. So that's going to expand here throughout the morning. This is 10 a.m. We're watching the potential of a band of heavy snowfall to form in between Alger and Schoolcraft counties here throughout the late morning time period, extending into the afternoon. And then after that, guys, it is on and off rounds of lake effect snow between today through Friday. So at times they're going to be a little bit more heavier, and then at other points in time they're going to weaken and kind of dissipate, and then the winds shift just a little bit, and so that will cause those bands to orient a little bit differently in the days to come. Okay, so we'll continue on with Thursday. This is tomorrow morning. Lighter lake effect snow, and then it looks like there will be a resurgence of the intensity in the eastern UP with the lake effect snow tomorrow afternoon. By the time tomorrow evening rolls around and Friday, we're looking at our winds to shift a little bit. And so that's going to set us up for lake effect snow to start to move onshore in Marquette County. So this is tomorrow evening. Here's a look at Friday. Becomes kind of more northerly oriented, that wind flow. And so that's where that lake effect snow will be predominantly occurring for Friday, going into Friday night. So here's Friday. We'll stop it here. This is right around midday. Here's like mid-afternoon. Again, that flow more northerly. This is 3, 4 o'clock. It kind of dissipates a little bit. There's a little bit more that comes in for Friday evening, again, along the northerly wind belts at that point in time. So places of impact right along Lake Superior, Marquette County, City of Marquette, those areas westish remain the high elevation locations, the Michigamme Highland areas in the highlands north of US 41, those typical spots. The good news, guys, well, the good news is that if you're kind of, tired of the lake effect snow, this weekend's going to be a drier weekend. We have a change in the pattern coming in. High pressure is going to be rolling in, and that'll kind of put an end to the lake effect snow for the weekend. So give us a little bit of a break from shoveling, again, depending on where you are located at. Okay, so in regards to snowfall between today through Friday night, those lake effect band areas easily 3 to 6 inches, even including portions of Marquette County in the high elevation locations, again, through basically Friday night, not all in one setting. Highest expected over in Alger County, where we could end up upwards of about a foot of snow by the time this lake effect snow event and pattern comes to an end. That's where we are expecting the heavier bands of lake effect snow to be concentrated at. Now, something that we also kind of look at this time of year, if we're in for kind of a normal winter, is ice concentration and the impacts ice concentration will have on the lake effect snow machine, and that extreme cold stretch of weather that we had really allowed that ice to expand along Lake Superior. Current concentration of around 31% along Lake Superior, okay, and about 36% along Lake Michigan. So essentially, we still are at kind of a low end of ice concentration. So we're still going to have the lake effect snow, but as this expands, as the ice concentration increases along the shorelines of the Great Lakes, that will eventually inhibit lake effect snow production. And then we'll kind of get a bit of a break from the active on and off lake effect snow pattern that can tend to happen this time of year when the lake isn't necessarily frozen over, right? So if you're hoping for a break, that's something to kind of look forward to. But right now, it's still on the low end of the threshold. So we're still going to have some lake effect snow out there. So yeah, that's the update with that. But also temperatures play a factor in, the development of ice. I believe I read recently that the ice thickness right off of the city of Marquette on that shoreline there is about 2 to 6 inches for actual ice thickness. Okay, temperatures also play a little bit of a factor. Again, that extreme cold really helped us out to expand the concentration of ice along the shorelines of the Great Lakes. And we're looking at a little bit more of some warmer conditions going in here for the weekend. Relatively speaking, that is, and that's going to put us back to seasonal ranges of 20s. But long range models and the Climate Prediction Center is looking at above normal temperatures for a small stretch at the beginning of February. That's through the 2nd through about the 6th. So there might be a period where ice development kind of halts along the shorelines of the Great Lakes. Overall, though, as we head through the 10th or even down through about the 20th of the month of February, outlook and projections are kind of shaping up for us to have more seasonal temperatures and conditions. So it doesn't look like we have any big giant warm-ups or periods of warm-ups that kind of get us above that freezing mark, which is good for maintaining, of course, our snow base and the inland ice and that ice concentration along the Great Lakes. So that's what's happening there. Okay. All right. Other than that, those are the big highlights. It's cloudy for most areas. Most of the UP is fairly quiet this morning. Another cold day. Yeah, more single numbers and a couple of teens along our shorelines. We are going to be back in the 20s this upcoming weekend. As I mentioned, we have a little bit of a warm up, but otherwise, that's that. All right. Well, if you are in those two main areas, the West and the Eastern UP, please be careful today as you go about your day and know that you could encounter some travel hazards out there. All right. You guys have a really great day.